Okay. Welcome to Work Friends Podcast. This is another episode. I am your host, Tyler. Joined here today by my good friend, Amber. And Amber, as I just recently found out, is a senior market research analyst, which I found this out roughly 45 minutes ago. But hey, what's going on, Amber? How are you?
Hi, I'm well.
Good.
I'm glad you know what I do for work now.
I do.
We can wrap this up.
I have a rough idea of what you do, so thanks for coming on the podcast. We'll see you all next week.
Yes, it's been fun.
It's been 57 seconds. No, but yeah, thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it. So what, I guess, where'd you grow up? Did you grow up around Virginia?
I literally grew up right here in this house we're sitting in.
Nice.
Tyler's been so kind to record here at my home.
Yeah, thank you for letting me come over to your place to record. And also, we got dinner beforehand.
Chinese food always hits.
Yep. You, me, and CJ got Chinese food. Pretty great place. This place called Ginger Red.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fave local place of ours.
Yeah. Shout out to Ginger Red. That place ruled. Got pad thai. Delicious. But anyway.
Yes, so I grew up around
there we go. Thank you. Sorry.
I'm on task.
Yeah, thanks.
Literally in this house, my grandparents lived here. My grandfather designed it as like his dream home.
Okay.
And when he passed away, he passed it down to me.
Okay, nice.
Which was actually really awesome. So very blessed and privileged for no home payments. I know a lot of people don't get that. It's 10 acres.
Pretty good start.
Plenty of space.
Yeah.
Which is just wonderful for raising a family or just living here in general.
Yeah, y'all have a nice house too.
Thank you. Yes, my grandfather designed it.
I like it. It's very, very cozy.
Oh, I said that.
Yeah.
Yes. Cozy is what I'm going for. I'm going for like cozy cabin vibes.
You did it. I just got a new like couch. Super cozy place.
So cozy. Always got a candle burning. Very important.
Always got a candle burning when it's like kind of overcast and it looks like it's about to rain right now.
I hope it does. That's
perfect.
Cozy.
If it rained right now, that would
peak cozy.
Cozy vibes through the roof. Not this roof though, because
anything but through the roof.
Then we'd have rain coming in.
Home ownership, I would say, is a full-time job by itself. There's always something to fix. There's always something to change. There's always something to build.
Yeah, and you guys have been homeowners, I guess, since you got married. So it's been 6 years or 7 years.
Started moving in July of 2018, I believe.
Wow.
So
7 years. Give or
7 years.
That's crazy.
We've been trying to fix things and kill bugs, and
it never stops. It never
figure out where to put the coffee machine.
I don't know when this house was built, but my house was built in 1980, and then it was remodeled in like 2019, 2020.
This was 88, so like same vibes.
Okay.
Not much remodeling. We could probably.
Oh yeah, not much. Well, I only said that just to say that my house also has tons of problems all the time, constantly. It seems like I'm always fixing something.
I think that's just every home ownership. I think that's just part of it.
I think it is too.
I think Eli discussed his build process, and they're not, I guess, super happy with a lot of pieces from theirs, and it's brand new.
That's right. Yeah, true.
Their house is gorgeous, though.
Yeah, their house is very pretty. But yeah, they built a house, and they've had a lot of issues and stuff. I think they've got everything pretty much fixed. He's also a really handy guy.
Yes.
Eli. He knows how to fix
It's
so
nice.
much.
So I'm married to episode 1, the engineer.
That's true. Yes, you are married.
Guy.
You are married to episode 1. That's funny.
I am with the pilot.
Yes,
who's not a pilot. He's an engineer.
That's right. You are wife of my good friend CJ Allard, who I've known since first grade, I think. I've known him forever.
So go back and start watching these from listening to these from the beginning.
Yeah, listen to
Get
them.
the whole process.
Yep. But so you
yes, grew up here. My grandparents lived here. My parents lived 20 minutes away. My grandparents would keep me.
Nice.
When I wasn't in school, basically, as childcare. And my mom is so kindly doing that for my son now, too.
Oh.
So generational.
Your mom is the best.
Passed down. So great. So great.
Your mom's a sweet lady.
One of my favorite people in the world. Keeping one of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah, your son.
My son.
Yeah, you just recently had a son, too. I don't know if you want to talk about that or not.
I procreated. I will not be doing it again.
You did it one and done, huh?
Yes. Well, we want to adopt a girl in a few years. To round out our family. But right now we're just enjoying our time with Atlas. Is his name. He's adorable. He's cute. He's wonderful. Love him to death.
Yeah, he's a cool little kid. But
Tyler calls him Atman.
Atman. He's
so
awesome.
I went to public schools around here, and I went to private school. I went to St. Gertrude.
Oh, right. Okay. When did I meet you? Do you remember when I first met you?
2014.
That's when I first met you?
Yes. And I remember people had kind of wanted me to set me up with CJ, but he was with a girl at the time, and I was like, why are people trying to set me up with this guy?
Girls.
Girls.
Yeah.
But then at the end of my senior year of high school, actually, my friend set me up on a date with him. They told him he was going on a date, and they told me I was going to a group hangout.
Nice.
And it was pretty much just him, and then he was paying for things. I was suspicious.
And you're like, wait a minute.
Hold on. I've been tricked and trapped. And then we got married.
And then you got married. Okay, he tricked you pretty good.
Yes, he tricked me really good.
He
Yes.
got you pretty good.
Early boyfriend decided it was good enough. No,
Yeah.
decided it was perfect.
Yeah. The stars aligned.
That around that time actually was when I got my first like real job though.
Cool.
I started working for a local credit union as their optical filings coordinator.
Okay, so this is after college?
And so this is in high school.
In high school. Okay,
so I was
sorry,
like
back
16,
to high school.
17-ish. It was just part-time.
Mm-hmm.
After school, I would go down to this credit union, and they had a lot of like backed up filing. I don't know if it was just they didn't have the time to do it or they needed like a position for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would file every time someone got a loan with them. There had to be some kind of printout proof of it. So every time they had one, I would file it for them and the associated, I don't even know, member number plus last name. But it was like a pile of papers taller than me when I started.
Oh my God. Oh, so you're doing this like manually,
So,
not
yes,
in a computer?
like physically in the back.
Old school. Whoa.
And so I did that for, I think, 2 years in a row of high school. So I guess my junior. So I did it spring semester through summer is how I did it.
Okay.
And then through like the earlier parts of school year, I didn't really work.
Yeah.
And then I would come back to it. And the second summer, they merged with another credit union. And they brought all of the documents to this credit union.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere, I don't know what happened, if the truck was in an accident or it just got shaken up, but all of this other credit union's member cards got dumped in this truck.
Uh-huh.
And it was like many filing cabinets, everything just shaken up like a milkshake.
Oh, no. Everything got
So
all mixed up.
Everything. So I spent that entire summer numerically putting together index cards.
That sounds
back into places.
hard.
And I wish desperately I had known about audiobooks at this time.
Yeah. What did
so
you
I
do
could have put in.
to keep yourself
I
sane?
listened to some music.
Okay.
Somehow I kind of got in trouble for that because they said I was on my phone too much, but I think I was like switching the songs type thing, and they were like watching me on video thinking I was playing on my phone.
That's annoying.
But I distinctly put this together like this time with my husband because that's when we were dating, and
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time just like ruminating on like I have a boyfriend, like what kind of dates can we do? Or,
Oh,
like,
that's nice.
I remember specifically
Oh,
taking
you liked him.
time off. I did. He's
Aw.
so cute. I remember taking time off to like go to Busch Gardens with him or
Aw.
water country.
Yeah,
dates
that's really
like
nice.
that. So like I kind of associate that time with new love.
Yeah. How old do you remember were y'all when you met? Like 17, 18?
I was 17. He was 18.
Oh,
So
okay.
he had
Ooh, an
just
older
he was in
gentleman.
first year of college. He had just broken up with his, I think, longer-term girlfriend, and he was sad. And his friend dragged him to my chorus concert.
Oh, nice. I think I actually might have gone to that as well.
So maybe you did. I think a lot of
Maybe.
people got dragged to that.
Yeah, I might
I
have
had
gone
a
to that.
solo. It was
Nice.
fantastic.
It's fantastic. Yeah,
it was
that's
all
great.
right. Nobody look it up.
Hey, would you like to know something? I don't remember that long-term girlfriend. So I'm thinking back. I don't remember who that was.
Good.
Yeah, you said good.
I say long term. I guess like at that age it was long term.
yeah, for sure.
For him it was like maybe I don't know, maybe a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah,
It's worked out for me then.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good. But okay, cool. So you met him while you were still in high school, like around your junior, senior year, right?
This girl that I knew took my seat
What?
at the chorus concert, and I ended up somehow sitting next to
Yeah.
CJ.
Okay.
And we played Calculator for the whole chorus
Nice.
concert.
The thing
and
where you, like,
man
slap each other's,
would
like,
not
fingers?
let me win. Yes.
Yeah, he's not gonna let
He
you
was
win.
not going to let me win. And
He's
I
a
was
winner.
like, I love him.
Yeah.
I will beat him one day. And that's how we stuck together because I could never beat him.
There you go. But anyway, so he courted you. He tricked you into marrying him.
Yes.
And all that good
down
stuff.
the line.
Yeah.
This was new love still.
Yeah,
at this
of
point
course.
When I'm, having my jobby job.
Mm-hmm. So when you're working at this place and they're yelling at you for being on your phone,
I'm not yelling. It was just a strong talking
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
You know.
While you're filing like you're filing papers.
Yes.
Okay.
No one is looking at me.
Yeah, I got you.
Like, there's really no reason for you not to,
Yeah.
finish the song if I want to. I'm
think that's
also one of those people who changes the song a lot, and it comes from when I had my first iPod, and it would not hold charge for more
Yes.
than 8 songs. So I would try to get quantity over quality.
You'd have
I feel
to
like
skip stuff.
skipping.
Yeah, I do that same thing. It drives anyone who's riding in the
It
car
doesn't
with
bother
me.
me at all.
I skip songs until I just don't.
Unless it's my favorite part of a song where I'm
Yeah.
really enamored. I'm like,
Yeah.
you skipped that?
It bothers
go back.
me. It bothers me when people listen to a song for 2.5 minutes and then change it.
Oh
It bugs
gosh,
me.
it's over.
It's fine if
it's
you're
over.
skipping through songs because you're trying to find something to listen to. But if I'm listening to a song, you change it in the middle of the song. I'm like, what are you doing? I was listening to that.
I was in the middle of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how long did you work at that place for?
So I believe I did 2 like spring summers with them. So I wouldn't say like quote unquote years, but like 2 years.
Oh, that's right, because
Air
you said
quotes.
it went like spring.
Since no one can see that.
That's right. Sorry, because you said it went like spring into
Yes.
summer, and then you took a break and then came back to it.
Yes, and it was just part time.
Okay, cool.
And then once the summer concluded, I went to college.
Nice. Where did you go to college?
So I went to Christopher Newport University.
Wow! Shout out CNU.
Yes,
and
love
Newport
them,
News.
the captains.
That's pretty cool. Did you like it there?
I did. I really, really liked it.
Yeah.
It was very like small and intimate kind
Mhm.
of college, so I felt like I really got to know my classmates. And
That's cool.
Really enjoyed the atmosphere. Like you could literally leave out your laptop in the library, go to the bathroom, and come back. No one's going to steal your laptop.
That's
Everyone
Newport News.
waves, says hello, opens the door for you. Like
That's
everyone,
cool.
it's a culture thing there.
That's really nice. CNU kind of always flew under my radar. I never really I don't know why, but
I didn't know anything about it
Yeah,
until
that's
my
what- I
best
don't-
friend from high school went there,
mhm.
and then I got in, and I was like,
Yeah.
cool.
I have
Sounds good.
an ex-girlfriend's sister and brother-in-law went to CNU, and
Do they like it?
they loved it. Yeah, they talked about it all the time. They were good people too.
I feel like people either absolutely love it or they decide that sort of culture is like not for them and
Really?
they transfer out in the first year.
Okay, I think that my ex's sister was like in Greek life and all that stuff too down there. Was Greek life a big thing?
Yeah, they
at
have
CNU?
Greek life. It was pretty big. It wasn't huge, but it was pretty big.
Okay, where did you get involved in that
I
at all?
did. I was in Zeta Tau Alpha.
Okay.
I loved it. I didn't go through your traditional rush
Yeah.
with it. I had made a lot of friends that were in it, and I had lunch dates with them kind of all the time.
That's nice.
And I didn't realize they were recruiting me.
Oh, really? You were just hanging out.
Because they were like, oh, I invited my friend so-and-so
Yeah.
today. And I'm like, oh, cool, someone else to hang out with us. Like,
Uh-huh.
I was just pretty social. And after a few weeks, they were like, hey, here's your bid.
Oh.
And I was like,
My what?
my what? I didn't bid on anything.
Yeah.
You're like, we want you in our sorority. So I was kind of just
That's-
handpicked by them, which
That's
was
really
pretty
nice.
cool.
Honestly, that's probably the best way to join.
They were
really.
secretly interviewing me.
Yeah.
Same with getting a husband, I guess. I'm
I
secretly
suppose
being
so.
interviewed.
Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe I need to start secretly interviewing people.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you do for work
Yeah.
on the street?
I was actually looking at investing in a new. There's a camera at Best Buy. It's like $600, and it comes,
Spy cam?
not spy cam, but it comes with 2 little like lapel mics, which I have, but they work on my phone. This would be like, I would get rid of these microphones, and I would just have the camera set up and then the lapel mics.
That's pretty cool.
So we wouldn't have to like hold them. We could just sit here and chat. Yeah,
Once.
it would be kind of like that.
Yeah,
pretty much same
okay,
thing.
cool.
Probably, honestly, might be the same thing. I think. I don't know.
That's neat. I forgot I had hands when I was holding this.
Yeah, I like holding the microphone like this.
It's nice to have a little something to do sensory wise.
I went to a stand-up show on Friday night, and they all hold the mics like this. They always hold them weird. They hold them funky. Or
Looks
they're like-
casual.
They'll mess with the thing. Yeah, it was very nice. Funny Bone Comedy and Short Pump.
I love an improv show or stand up.
I'd never been before. It was cool, and I went by myself too. So like they set all the like.
Was it like one of the clubs that have the little tables and like
Yeah.
the candle? Oh,
Yeah,
man,
it was
so
nice.
fancy.
It had little tables everywhere, and then it had like a bar. It had like a bar kind of like in the middle of the room facing the stage, and then it had like a bar behind that one.
Oh,
Kinda up.
interesting.
So, and then at the bar, they set like all the single people, all the people who showed up by themselves. So I showed up and sat next to 2 strangers.
I'd be
and,
scared of getting roasted that way in a comedy show.
One of the opening comedians asked a joke, or they asked something. They asked the crowd something, and like hardly anyone raised their shouted or anything. And for some reason, my dumb ass, I raised my hand. I went, "Oh me," and then I went, "Oh my god, why did I do that?"
Strongly said me.
Yeah, I was like me, and then I don't know why I was like, "Why did I do that?" And I looked at the dude next to me, and they were both laughing. Like both dudes on either side of me were laughing, and I just sunk down in my chair like this, and I was like, "Oh, why did I do that? Please don't notice me."
Self-inflicted.
So that was fun. But
That's so cool. I'd be totally down to go to one of those sometime.
that would be sick. I'm gonna start going every
CJ
weekend.
loves comedy. When Atlas was a baby, we would watch so much stand up at
Oh,
night
yeah?
to keep ourselves awake.
That was probably some of that might have been my fault. I know I sent a bunch of
oh,
of
that's
stand
where
up
they
his
came from.
way.
Yeah, I was like, how do you know all these people, bro? Like,
Yeah, I sent a bunch of stand up. Just last week, I sent him a bunch of stand up people. Like,
I'm sure we'll watch them soon.
yep, good. But anyway, so what we were talking about CNU Greek life. That's right. So you joined the sorority. What'd you go to school for? What was your major?
So I majored in communications, although I went in undecided and
Oh, okay.
waited as long as I possibly could to decide because I just like to explore. I like to learn.
Yeah.
I like to know things. I didn't really have an idea of what career field I wanted to go into.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question too. What did you know what you wanted
I
to do?
really didn't have anything in mind, to be honest.
Yeah. Even as like a kid, do you remember?
I enjoyed marketing.
Okay.
I enjoyed communications. I briefly dabbled in considering teaching, but in like an adjunct kind of college style, not like children.
Oh, okay. Like teaching adults. I see.
Yes, teaching adults.
Like
but
community
I
college
just
or
don't
something.
think that would pay the bills for me.
That's fair. Yeah.
Long term, like maybe when I retire, if I find something topic-wise.
You're accustomed to a lavish lifestyle, you know?
I'm very accustomed.
Yes.
Yes. You know, me and my free house.
Yes.
Just kidding. I'm blessed and privileged and still have to pay for repairs all the time. So I graduated with a major in communications.
Cool.
And I double minored in leadership. Excuse me. Which was a presidential leadership program, so I actually got a stipend to study that.
What?
As a scholarship.
That's
you had
cool.
to apply to get, and you had to do certain classes, certain internships, certain volunteer hours, and
Really?
a lot of requirements.
In leadership?
Yes, in leadership. So
All right.
that's sort of like management or just basic leadership of any like group of people.
Okay.
Just kind of standing out from the crowd, public speaking, all
Neat.
sorts of anything you could think of with leadership is what we studied
Yeah.
for it.
Interesting that you got a stipend for it, too. It
was a scholarship.
Okay. Oh, okay. A scholarship. Okay.
So we got money to study, and then eventually you end up with that minor. And then I double minored. So my second minor was Asian Studies with a specialization in Chinese language.
Wow. Okay.
I started taking the classes, my language requirement, and I loved them. I think the language is beautiful. I think culture is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
My parents' best friends growing up were two Chinese individuals that had immigrated over. And they actually took us to China with them when I was little.
So you've been to China?
Where I fell in love with it,
Wow.
to be honest.
How old were you? Do you remember?
I was like maybe 10 or 11, like
That's
very young.
pretty
I want
cool,
to say
yeah.
like third or fourth grade.
Mm-hmm.
I just fell in love with everything about it. I wanted to speak the language
That
so
is
bad.
awesome.
And it is so complicated.
I think around like third, fourth, fifth grade too is kind of where I fell in love with like history. Like, because I remember studying like ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient China, and I was pumped on history. Like that was always my favorite subject in school.
I love ancient cultures.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think they're so interesting.
So when you were a kid, you went over to China,
Yes.
with your parents and your parents' friends.
Yes.
And that's kind of where you fell in love with it. And so in college, you have a minor in Asian studies. And what was the specialization?
A specialization in Chinese language.
Okay.
So we did Asian studies, and it was like a broad overview. We took history classes. We took culture classes.
Okay.
But my
That's awesome.
specification was in the language classes. So most of the things that I took was language classes.
Wow. Aren't you fluent in like
I definitely
Mandarin?
was at one time, and it's surprising how much you lose it if you don't use it.
If you don't use it?
It's legitimate. Like I still trying to find words because I'll talk to Atlas in Chinese a lot, especially in our walks, just to sort of introduce him to new languages, or I'll sing him Chinese songs.
That's cool.
And sometimes I'll be like, this is a very simple word. Why can I not remember this word?
Yeah, what does it mean?
Or I'll go back to try to read things. Like I would write papers in Chinese for this program. And
wow.
sometimes I can't read some of this stuff, and that makes me so sad.
Man. Okay. Huh. I just from not using it, I guess, from 10 years later, I guess.
It really is. Use it or lose it.
Yeah. Wow. And I feel like that's such a difficult language to learn too, because it's not like based on what you know, English.
It definitely is not a Latin-based language.
Yeah, not a Latin-based language. Yeah.
It actually uses both sides of your brain for
What?
both the reading and writing and the language part, from what I understand, because Chinese, specifically Mandarin, is what I learned.
Mm-hmm.
Uses tones. So you have 4 different ways. You can say like the word ma, 4 different ways, and it means 4 different words.
Just based on tone.
Just based on the tone that you say it in.
That is wild.
And for reading, it's pictorial, so you're using the art side of your brain as well as the language.
I was thinking it had something to do with that.
There's no alphabet per se. It's like each character is a word.
Wow.
I knew somewhere between, at my like peak, probably like, I don't know, maybe 10,000 characters.
That
And I want to say, and this may not be good statistics, so I don't know off the top of my head, but it's like 40,000, like plus.
That's insane. That's why I think Chinese in particular, Mandarin, I guess in particular, has been so fascinating to me, because each character, like we have letters, and you combine the letters to make a word. Each character that they have it means something different.
It does.
And they all different.
So
thousands.
the characters combine to be other characters.
That's wild.
In ways. So there's traditional Mandarin, and then there's like a modernized version of it. So the traditional ones are even more pictorial, have even more strokes. Our characters combined. And
was it a lot of like memorization is how you learned it?
Pretty much is just straight memorization.
Because
there's no other way to.
Yeah, because it doesn't mean anything.
And I would find ways in my head to be like, oh, this looks like a man walking, so this means walking, or like whatever. Like,
Fair enough.
But it's a stretch to say
Yeah.
that it looked like,
sometimes
what
it's
it
just
was.
sometimes it's just
Sometimes I'd be like, this looks like an airplane, but it means dirt. Like,
yeah, it means nothing
whatever
related
works
to
for me.
Hey, whatever works. What do they call those, mnemonic devices?
Yes, mnemonic device.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's like PIMDAS.
Yeah, PIMDAS.
It's gibberish, but it means something to someone.
Yeah. Okay, so that is pretty cool. So you went to China though as an adult too, right? Or
No, I never got to study abroad.
Okay.
I just didn't get the chance to. I guess that's leading back to work. I worked summers at Gymboree, the kids' clothing store.
Ah, okay.
I think it was my freshman year of college. I came home for the summer, and my dad was like, "It's time to get a job." Again.
You got to pay for your own
like,
gas money.
So you're right.
Yeah.
And my goal was to be able to afford my college books because they're expensive.
Yeah, they are. I stopped buying those my senior year. I was like, you know what? I didn't read any of those last time.
I wish I had thought about buying them on my Kindle.
That's a good idea.
That is what I wish I'd done.
Yeah. I don't know if I
did
had
not
it.
even think about that.
My Kindle got stolen in like freshman year of college
That is really sad.
by one of my roommates. Pretty sure.
Well, they just released a color version of it that I want real bad. So
Nice.
if you're looking for something new, I
Yeah,
can
okay,
hit
there
it.
you go. Maybe.
So that's what I wish that I did, a lot cheaper version. But that was kind of my goal at the time. So I applied just for a bunch of random stuff that wasn't too far away. So I applied to be a receptionist at a local RV company. I applied to work at JCPenney's and I actually got an interview there. And they were like, we're not looking for seasonal workers.
Okay.
We want year-round, people that
Yeah.
want to move up in our company, which is fair. So they basically told me on the spot, forget about it.
Yeah.
I applied to a sports paraphernalia shop,
Sweet.
which would have been a terrible job for me.
That's
I
awesome.
don't understand anything about sports ball.
Sports ball.
But it was there.
Go sports.
Go sports. Home run. But we took, in one of our leadership classes, we took an interviewing class.
Oh,
and,
great.
Which was really cool. Or like we took a section of it.
Is
Well,
it
not
working?
like this. Not like
Oh,
this. For
okay.
like jobs.
I was going to say, how am I doing?
I'm not well practiced. How am I doing?
Fine.
Interview me. No.
Doing great.
Thank you. And they were saying that the modern way to apply for jobs in person is to dress towards the position. So, like, I was applying for jobs at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
They recommend, like, don't dress up in business clothes.
Wear Hollister.
For a mall, right? Yeah, like, wear Hollister if you're going to apply to Hollister.
Makes sense.
Wear, I don't know, pink if you're going to apply to Victoria's Secret. So...
And I am.
When perfect. I don't know what you got going on in the sweatshirt, Tyler. But I was applying to just some basic positions at the mall. So I, of course, wore my jeans, wore, some nice shoes and like a blouse or something. And I walked into Gymboree because a few of my friends worked, and I can't remember the name, but it's an offshoot of Gymboree. It's like another kids' clothing store. The children's place, it might have been Gymboree still. But they said that kids' clothing stores were always hiring.
Interesting.
So I still had that in my mind if some of my friends worked at some of these places.
I wonder why that is.
I guess because people don't really think about that as like a top tier place to work unless you're a mom.
It's true.
And I'm a teen. I was nowhere near me a mom. I don't need a discount on children's clothes.
Back then,
But I needed a job. And I walked in and the manager gave me an interview on the spot. And
Awesome.
she said, I liked your style.
Hey, there you go. It's because what you were wearing.
Yes, she liked what I was wearing.
Nice.
And I was like, man, that class really knew what they were talking about.
Damn, true. Yeah, they knew a thing or two. I guess.
Hired me on the spot, told me to come back and basically wear the same outfit like 2 weeks from then or whatever when she could get me. I thought it was okay. I definitely knew I wanted to do retail, not food service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, food stinks.
I'm trying to think if I had any like crazy stories from that job. I don't have any like super crazy stories, but man, the kids were bad in those places.
Were they really just running around and
I had a kid
hiding in
look
all
me
this-
dead in the eye and dump a water bottle over a pile of clothes.
what the heck?
While
What for?
looking me in the eye.
Wow, rude.
And I like
That was a power
from
move.
my understanding, it's like we weren't supposed to talk to people's children.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hello.
Hey.
This mom
Yelling
who
at
just
the
like
lady.
didn't care.
Hey, do something about your kid.
Excuse me. Or like at one point this woman's toddler left the store.
Oh.
And I was like, excuse me, your small human is leaving.
Your child is running away.
And she was like, they're fine. I'm like, no, like she's in a different store now.
She's gone.
Watch her go. And then she realized what I was talking about. I had to chase her kid down.
Yeah. Jeez, it's crazy how like oblivious some parents
really,
are.
like your kid is legitimately in a
Yeah.
different store. Like
You have
she's
one-
across the mall. I'm watching her right.
Yeah.
I can't leave. I was
You've
gonna,
got like one goal.
do something.
When you take your kid out in public, you have like one goal.
I'm not a parent, so I can judge. As a parent now, I'm judging you.
Yeah,
lady.
you're allowed to judge. I guess I'm not allowed to judge, but you're allowed to judge. So you do it for me.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
I do it for
Thanks.
you on behalf of you.
Yeah, thanks.
Parenting.
Your judgment by proxy.
This one woman was like having her kid put on their shoes.
Mm.
And the kid didn't know how to tie their shoes, and she said, "Oh, this nice worker will show you how."
Yeah. Oh,
That
wait,
is
what?
not usually in my pay grade, but like,
What if
I
you didn't know how to tie your shoes?
that would have been embarrassing.
That's what I would have been like.
But sure.
Look at my shoes.
My shoes aren't tied.
I'm wearing slip-ons. I would have been like, look, lady.
I showed this kid, the bunny ears method because I have nothing better
That's
to
the
do.
only one I know.
And that lady was like, "That's a nice thing that you did. That was good stuff right there. Tip me $3."
What if that lady? That was really nice of her to do. She gave you $3.
Yes,
Thanks.
literally
Thanks a lot.
$3. I was like,
I can buy a
"Thank
candy bar
you."
with this, maybe. What if that lady didn't know how to tie her shoes?
Maybe she did it.
Maybe she tricked you into teaching her kid how to
The
tie her
vibes
shoes.
it was giving was very. This worker is here to help us
great.
work.
hey, worker, watch my kid while I shop.
Pretty much. Yes.
Well, that stinks. But all right. So what was the name of that place again? Sorry.
Gymboree.
Gymboree. Okay.
And they don't exist anymore. I think my senior year of college went out of business or went bankrupt.
Oh man.
That was, I guess, a good transitional phase for me
Yeah.
to not do it. But I did that every summer, and I would come back home and work on the weekends sometimes there.
Was that So was that? Where was that? Was it down in Newport News?
There was one at Virginia Center Commons.
Is that up here?
And then sometimes I would work at the Short Pump location when they were really busy, and I would work holidays, full summers, still part-time work,
Yeah.
obviously, but taking on whatever
Little-
hours that I could. Yes, exactly.
As a college
So,
student. Okay.
towards college.
Pretty rad.
But I would just stay on their payroll. I wouldn't necessarily stop during the year.
Yeah.
I'd come home for weekends. And
Okay.
I think at one point I actually worked in the Norfolk one.
Oh really?
I do believe there was a Norfolk one. I just picked up a few hours at one point.
Here and
just
there,
to-
like on the
yeah.
weekends. That's pretty good.
So it was a good job. I had really good managers that genuinely cared. Sometimes the other workers were a little crazy. But
Really?
it was a lot of long-term retail people.
Oh, okay. So
They've
they're
just
all
been in it a long time.
Yeah.
They've seen some things. They have
off their
crazy
rocker.
stories.
Yeah, they're off their rocker. They've seen it all. Those
They
guys
know
are like,
what's up, and I'm just a baby.
yeah, those guys are like Vietnam vets. They've seen it all.
They've seen it all, and they're
They've seen
so
it all.
nice to people still.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is top tier peopling.
True. Good
That
point.
you can see all of that, or have people threaten your life over socks, and
Yeah.
you were still kind every day coming to work.
I
You
wouldn't be
deserve
able
an
to.
award.
I wouldn't be able to do it. I used to work in retail. I used to work at Michael's craft store.
I would love that.
It wasn't for me. I
just
could see you doing really well at Michael's craft store.
I
Me,
like a crafty craft.
not for me. Where else did I work at that stunk? I worked at Jersey Mike's. That was a food
Ooh,
place.
yeah,
but
I don't want to handle food.
Yeah, food was rough.
I get the ick really bad with textures.
Yeah, yep, that would do it. Oh god, there's so many tomatoes,
Oh.
old tomatoes. Ew, gross.
Oh my
Soggy
gosh,
wet
I would
lettuce.
pass away.
Soggy wet lettuce. Disgusting.
Talk dirty to me.
But okay, so that was working at Gymboree, and that was while you were in college.
Yes.
So you met. So in college, you had a very busy college career. So
Boy, did I. Yes, I was in a lot of other clubs
Yeah.
and things.
oh, you were in clubs too.
Yes,
clubs?
I actually founded a club there.
What?
It was called Tea and You.
Okay.
Like a tea.
That's
it was
clever.
a tea appreciation club.
Cool. That's
So
clever.
we would partner with other clubs.
Mm-hmm.
We partnered with the Asian Student Union, and we did all different across the board Asian teas. So
Nice.
each subsect of the student of that union would make their culture's teas.
Pretty
so we
cool.
had a Chinese tea station and a Japanese tea station. People could pay money that went towards their causes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Asian Americans for Justice, I think, at the time. I don't even remember.
Okay.
But they could come in and try all the different teas from all the different cultures, which was really cool. We did a Harry Potter one, a tea, where
That's awesome.
we did different Harry Potter activities.
Nice.
We made wands, and there were stirring stick spoons for
Uh-huh.
your teas.
Nice.
We raced teacups. Not raced teacups. We did paper airplanes for Wingardium Leviosa.
Oh, that's pretty
just
cool.
cute little activities. So it was just a tea appreciation and culture club.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was when you started yourself. How did you
Yes,
start?
Yep, I founded it.
How did you do that? Did
It was
you have
three
to
of my friends, and we created positions. So I started as the event planner, and ended up as the vice president, I believe.
Okay.
But that ended up being a little too bureaucratic for me.
Yeah.
So I trained a few people that could do my jobs after I left.
That's pretty neat. What was the process of starting a club at college like?
That's the paperwork.
I would
actually.
imagine.
You had to apply at the student union. You had, especially if you were working with food services, you had to get certain almost licenses
Really?
for things. It was always just a lot of paperwork, even to serve cookies.
If you were gonna have an event
If you
and
were
give
to have
out
anything,
cookies.
yes. And then when you partnered with other clubs, they also had to make sure their paperwork equaled up together.
What the heck? Okay.
So that was a lot of what I did as vice president.
Very-
As event planner, I got to do the fun stuff like doing the coordination between the clubs.
Not all the paperwork.
Not all the paperwork.
Good
yes.
deal. That's very surprisingly bureaucratic.
It was. I don't know if that's every college process.
Yeah. Can't stand bureaucracy.
But that was a really cool thing. I guess going back to job, I also had an internship.
Oh.
I interned for Colonial Williamsburg.
Nice.
At first, I interned under the president's office.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, that was a lot of filing, funnily enough.
More filing, like physical papers and stuff?
Physical papers or
God,
business cards. They needed all of these business cards filed.
Did you ever file any of mine, I wonder? Like at Fastenal?
Wait, I don't know. It was anybody who basically gave them a business card, the president a business card, and he needed them all in one place.
I gave Colonial Williamsburg several business cards, but it was probably after.
I bet yours is in my my work.
It probably could be. It was probably after. It was probably after your time there, though. I guess because when I was at Fastenal, it would have been like 20.
I'm sure they have a Fastenal.
2018. Fun fact: when I worked at that Williamsburg and Fastenal, do you remember I worked at Ferguson before that?
Yes.
The plumbing supply place. So my boss at Ferguson worked at Fastenal before he worked at Ferguson, and obviously before I worked at Fastenal. And then one day I was in my store and I was going through one of the drawers or something in the Williamsburg Fastenal, and I pulled out an old business card, and it was a business card looked just like mine, but it was my old boss's when he was a rep at my store. And I was like, I sent a picture. I was like, hey, I found your old business card.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah,
it feels very full circle.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. But yep, I forgot where I was going with that.
Colonial Williamsburg.
Oh yeah, that's right, Colonial Williamsburg. Sorry, I didn't mean to snap my fingers at you. That was rude. Hey, rude. But okay, so back at Colonial Williamsburg was where you were interning, you said? In college?
Yes.
Cool.
For the president's office. And that was really cool. And I feel like that's where I very much learned sometimes you don't need to be too good at your job.
Definitely.
So I did all of their filing.
Yeah.
Another thing I would file would be if people would write into Colonial Williamsburg for any reason. They get a shocking amount of hate mail very, very, very mean things.
Well, for
people
what about?
Cool, right?
Like...
Specifically the president. I guess at that time, some people didn't care for the president.
President of Colonial Williamsburg?
Colonial Williamsburg.
Oh, okay.
There was a pastor specifically that wrote in about how he was going to hell and how Colonial Williamsburg would burn.
So aggressive. Whoa.
It was the strangest thing to me.
What in the world?
To file a lot of those. And some of them were very lovely. My kids had the best time here. Here's a picture of them. That stuff was great.
That's what I would imagine
but
most of the letters.
It was 60% hate mail.
What the hell? I don't understand why. Why is everybody hating on Colonial Williamsburg?
I don't get it. I think it was very specialized to the president for whatever reason. They were
just
not
mostly
happy with that vote in for him to run the foundation.
I wonder if it's like a local.
It must have been.
Must be like a local would it
bureaucracy that I would not understand.
Like a local
political systems.
Yeah,
but they're a private foundation, I believe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That was above my pay grade as an intern, I can tell you that.
Same. Very strange.
But I would finish their filing way too early, and they would be like, we got nothing for you, go home. So I'm not getting my hours that I need. I'm not getting paid. And at some point, she just brought me up, my supervisor, and said, hey, you've done everything we had for you, so we're going to dismiss you. And I literally got fired for doing my job too well.
That stinks. Okay, well, that's a lesson. But
that was really bad because I had to get this internship to graduate. I had to get a certain amount of hours. And there was an adjunct professor that worked there. She was the one who helped me get the job. She took me on instead.
Okay.
In her department, which worked for the educational side of Colonial Williamsburg.
Neat.
And I actually helped them develop I'm not sure if it's a product they end up selling or continuing to develop, but it was a lesson plan for homeschoolers based on the free resources that Colonial Williamsburg provided.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, I bet you
slides. I made a business proposal. I made a paper about it. I photoshopped work. I did a lot of research. I feel like they probably still use it.
Yeah, and put together like a lesson plan for homeschooled kids. That's pretty cool. Like a tour of Colonial Williamsburg.
But they also offer free resources. So they have they have things you can buy, lesson plans, books, worksheets, like tactical things for younger kids, a sheep or whatever.
Yeah,
that
tactical.
Fits it.
Oh, tactile.
Tactile, yes. Tactical.
Tactical. Get your tactical Colonial Williamsburg flashlight.
Very revolutionary.
Yeah.
Revolution.
That's nice. Okay.
So anything they provided, I put them together in packages as to what would go together, what would be a great lesson. this category would be great for fourth graders. This category would be great for people learning about this type of history, and sort of repackaged what they already had.
Okay, I got you. We did something similar at Laser Quest, believe it or not.
Really? With the escape room stuff?
I don't think with the escape room stuff, but we had like remember in like second or third grade you learned about like light and refraction.
Yes.
And like
science.
Yeah, science, mirrors, like how light bounces off mirrors and all that stuff. We had like lesson plan. There was like 3 or 4 lesson plans for like lights and mirrors and refraction and like how color works and all that stuff, and it was pretty neat, I guess. But similar. They'd put like lesson plans together, like for the teachers and stuff. I guess it was more like
branded as Laser Quest.
Yeah.
So Laser Quest lesson. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Similar to what you're doing, but for Colonial Williamsburg in science. Yeah. So yours is more history, though. Nice.
And I really enjoyed that, which led into what made me think that I might want to teach college professors, because at the end of that internship, I put together a case study on leadership based on what I learned from both of the bosses that I studied under.
Yeah.
And I actually taught leadership classes on that. So I taught a college class,
In college?
a class, not like a whole semester.
Okay.
A class.
One
on
session.
This case study.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I would always allow the students to ask me anything they wanted about the program in PLP, which was Presidential Leadership Program, the leadership minor.
Oh, okay.
And I'd make the actual professor leave the room, and so they could ask me whatever they wanted about the leadership program and figure out make it work for them.
No.
So that I really enjoyed that. It made me think I would be really good at training or management in the future.
I see the leap there. Yeah. Or
So it
teaching.
was something
You're also
good to
thinking
learn.
teaching, you said.
Yes, and teaching, that kind of vibe. So that that had me thinking like maybe I want to do this in the future, but I also have to look at salary, and just teaching just doesn't pay the bills often, which is so sad, because that is one of the most important professions in my opinion.
Important and hard. Yeah.
And even just teaching
Kids
college students that were a few years younger than me, I was like, man, if these were kids, I could not do it.
If it were kids, I don't think I'd be able to teach kids, but if it were like, I don't know, high school, college, maybe I'd be able to do.
I
but
don't know, man.
Kids, I don't think I'd be able to.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, some high schoolers are. I think you're right. I think I maybe have to do college kids.
Yes.
I have to teach college.
And even then, they were only a few years younger than me, and sometimes I'm like, you guys are babies.
Yeah, you guys are children.
You know nothing. No,
listen up.
Not really. They were very, very smart. I'm glad they took me very seriously, and I really appreciated that they asked legitimate questions, not stupid questions.
Yeah, definitely. That helps. Okay, sweet. So that was working Colonial Williamsburg and seeing you a little bit. So after you graduated, did you have a job lined up then? Or well, actually, let's talk about, when did you get married? You graduated and then got married, or you?
I was proposed to on the day of my graduation.
Right
I
on.
left the stage. I came home. I got proposed to.
Happy graduation day.
Happy engagement party.
Engagement party. Yeah, an engagement party.
Engagement party.
I don't know. Anyway, so okay, that's cool. And then I guess a year or two later, y'all got married. And
yeah, I think it was like 18 months, a year and a half, something like that.
Nice. It was 2019, right? I think.
Yes, it was scoochingly right before COVID.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was like October, November. I guess
it was November, and then we were closed down by what?
Whoa,
January, March.
Yeah, March 2020. I remember it fondly.
So newlyweds, quarantining together.
Yeah, how'd that go?
We got married. It was awesome.
You're both still alive, and you had a good time.
I'm privileged to say that I did catch the first wave of COVID. That was probably the worst time of my life. However, the bonding between us and the coziness,
nice.
Our cabin, and we have a half mile of private trails, so we were able to still get exercise.
That's pretty exciting.
Get some sunlight, which is nice.
You guys do have a great little setup out here. That is true.
We do love it. But yes, so from my Asian Studies program, we did a lot of back and forth with other students and professors from China. They would actually bring in professors from China. And one of them taught at a university in Hong Kong. And she wanted me to come back with her for a 2-year stint for teaching English. Wow. So it would be a dual. She would teach Chinese. I would teach English.
She wanted you to go to Hong Kong with her.
Yes, with her. And it would be 2 years. So they provided, I believe, housing and food.
Okay.
And then, of course, a stipend, a paycheck.
Yeah, a little spending money.
But I was seriously considering, because it was just 2 years, right? That I could figure out what to do with my life. It'd be a great experience. It'd be cool to travel.
That would be neat.
And then literally Siri, no thank you. A few days later.
Be quiet, Siri. We're trying to podcast.
No thank you, Siri.
Yeah.
Okay. She's still listening. A few days later, I got proposed to, and I'm thinking I'm not going to plan a wedding from China.
Yeah, that would be hard.
I stopped considering that pretty much immediately. And honestly, I think it was such a blessing because I would have been trapped over there during COVID.
Definitely.
It would have been
Good point.
2019. Exactly. And, I don't think the borders would have been open for me coming back from China.
Probably not. I mean, nowadays maybe, but probably up till about 2024, I would say. Like early 2024, 2023 maybe?
I guess so.
Maybe even now. I don't know. I really don't know. But
It's been only 2 years and I would have been trapped.
yeah.
That would have been absolutely terrible. So I really consider that like a God wink type thing.
There you go, yeah.
It was not meant to be.
That's a blessing.
All.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
At all.
So, neat.
Yes, for sure. And I'm very, very happy. It wasn't like giving up my dreams or
No,
anything.
no.
It was just a consideration.
It was an opportunity that arose. You considered it,
Exactly.
and then you're like, nope, not for me.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, and then now you're glad that you didn't
And
do
I'm
it.
not. Yes,
But,
I
yeah.
really want to be in my house that
Yeah.
I had. I wanted
It's good.
to.
You don't have that, like, what if I had. You don't, like,
I
regret
know what would
it.
have
That's
happened if
good.
I had. It would have been terrible.
Yeah, it would have been bad. That's great. I'm glad
It
that
would
you.
have closed the university. I would have been shipped home or trapped.
Yeah, that would have been rough. That would have been rough.
So
Nice. I'm glad that you have that.
it is nice to have that closure.
Yeah, and that you don't have that doubt about it either. That's good that you know you did the right. That's cool.
Exactly.
A lot of people. I have just about every single decision I've made in my 29 years. I'm like, oh, God dang it! What if I had done this? I think about everything all the time.
I
but
get stuck in that pre-decision.
really,
Like the what ifs of like, what if I don't make the decision?
Yeah.
What if I do?
you get analysis paralysis.
Exactly. Then once I make the decision, nothing else exists. That's it. Gung ho, full forward, just like
Cool.
a shark. Can't swim backwards.
That's not-
blinders on.
That's not a bad thing. You're like a dog. Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
I'm
to have.
committed person.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing that you're.
Hyper focused.
Yes. What is the word? You have conviction.
Yes, I have
You act-
conviction.
yes, you act with
I
conviction.
follow through.
Yeah, that's
Whether or
right.
not it ends up good or bad, I
That's a-
follow through. So getting married, I guess it's a big part of my story.
Okay.
I wanted to get something local. That summer of graduating, I spent kind of planning my wedding and trying to get jobs. I must have applied to like 200 jobs.
Oh, man.
Half the time they're ghosting me. And it would have been nice if Jamboree had still been open, then I could have, gone back to that in like the interim.
but they had shut down,
They had
right?
shut down.
Oh.
They had gone bankrupt. Obviously, my internship, came to a natural conclusion, and commuting from Richmond to Williamsburg would have been okay, but like not amazing.
Not ideal. Yeah, not ideal.
So I was looking for something local, and
Local to Richmond.
yes, local to Richmond. And my mom worked for the same credit union that I worked for back in my summers, and they had an opening in a marketing position.
Oh yeah, that's right. I actually refinanced my truck through that.
Yes, I
because
think I
of
made
yeah,
what
you
I was-
did. You didn't.
I marketed so good, guys.
You did. Well, I had just bought a truck, and then I think 4 or 5 months later, you got that job, and you were like, you should refinance. And I was like, I should refinance. You're right.
That is the big secret with credit unions.
Yep.
Shop around, like finance your car or truck and then wait a little bit and then go refinance, and it will drop your rate so much.
I might need to do that again. Actually, it's been a couple years.
Shop around to another credit union.
It's not a bad idea. My
we're
credit-
all just trading business with each
Yeah,
other.
my credit score has increased probably by
You could
150
probably
points.
drop your rate a good
since
bit
then.
again.
Yeah,
And some of them do rate dropping.
and I make more now. Well, not really.
Ooh.
I make less. On paper, I make more, but in reality, I make less. But
It's kind of ironic.
Yeah,
Are you
it's-
spending it too fast?
yes, I am. I spend it as fast as I make it.
I
That
see
is-
the issue.
That is a problem. It's that, and then commissions. They take a lot more tax out for commission.
Oh, that's
So,
unfortunate.
yeah. So on
I
paper,
never worked on commission, so I'm not as familiar.
it stinks.
Well, I mean, I did get that $3 for tying shoes.
that
so
counts.
commission.
That counts.
But yes, so I applied for that. I think I went through a couple interviews with them, and my mom was really not part of the process. I didn't want it to be, what is it called when you're like a hire because of someone that works there?
Nepotism.
Nepotism.
Nepo baby.
Yeah,
You
I
wanna
did
be a
not want
nepo
it to
baby.
be like that at all. And I think that I presented really well for it because I did study communications, which is part of marketing, and that's why
Yeah.
I thought it would be really interesting.
Right.
And I did end up getting the job.
Nice.
which
Okay.
was
So,
awesome.
and what was the job title?
Marketing and community relations
Okay.
coordinator, I believe.
Or outreach? Okay, that's right.
Community
Yeah.
outreach coordinator.
Okay, because you
Can't
ran the
remember.
social medias and stuff,
So
right?
yes, I ran their social media.
Among other things.
And it was 2 credit unions together. I'm not going to say their names because I'm going to roast them a little bit.
That's fine. I was gonna ask. I almost said their name, and then I was like, maybe she doesn't want me to say their name. So,
So-
anyway,
It was all right. It was both great. It was great learning experience.
yeah,
I did a lot of marketing and social media that I enjoyed. That's
Mm-hmm.
stuff that I kind of helped out with in my sororities. That's what I did a lot of writing for them that I enjoyed. Did a lot of editing work for them I enjoyed.
I enjoyed interacting with you on social media when you were the person, because I knew. I was like, hey, hello.
A contest that I put up on social media, which is very funny.
I did? I won a contest?
Do you remember I had to call you when you thought it was spam?
I do
It was a caption this contest or whatever we had on our social media.
I remember it. I don't remember what I won, though. Or did I win anything?
A gift card or something. We did a lot of gift card giveaways.
Yeah, but that was fun.
I really enjoyed that. I had probably one of the best bosses I've ever had. I feel like I learned so much from her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's one of those people that built herself from the ground up in her career. Like if she doesn't know how to do it, she's going to find out how to do it. She's going to take a class. She's going to do a YouTube video.
Good for her.
It was just the tenacity of her was amazing.
I know her, right?
I think so. Yeah, you've definitely met her.
The lady who was married to the man on the radio.
Yes, the radio.
Yeah.
Yes, her. She's still a good friend to date. Honestly, I've had good bosses through all of these. I'd say probably the only questionable boss was the one who fired me for being too good at my job.
Fair enough, yeah. I would question that boss.
But she was wonderful. But I feel like there was a lot of upper management bureaucracy things that just did not agree with me.
Yeah.
In that job. In the sense of, I remember had to get a talking to because I wore an orange hair tie.
What? How's that?
It wasn't even in the uniform guidelines. It was just, they just didn't like it.
That's dumb.
I think I got a talking to about having my hair in braids. When I braided it back, nice to be out of my face because I worked an event in the rain.
What in the world? What do they want you to... I don't understand.
I can tell you.
What in the world?
Braids.
Seems like dumb stuff to be worried about. But
I will say, I understand. I'm a community relations, and I'm trying to present your credit union well in in the wild. But if I'm neat and clean and my hair is pulled back out of my face because I'm standing in the rain, I think it wasn't even a scrunchie. It was a hair tie.
That's really weird.
A legitimate elastic band that was slightly orange. And what's funny is that in the talking to I got, they referred to it as pink. And
even if it was pink, so what? I don't understand. It's a hair tie. I don't.
But they had very, very strict uniform guidelines. I couldn't have my piercing.
Okay.
I have one upper ear piercing.
Yeah.
Couldn't have that. Got talking to. It got to the point where I just felt like being parented by my job.
That's a bit weird. Yeah. It's a bit of an overreach when they're telling you how to dress every day.
You couldn't dye your hair any quote unquote unnatural color. So red is unnatural to me, so I couldn't dye my hair red though I wanted.
Who's to say it's not? I don't know. This all seems subjective to me. I don't understand how
subjective.
They can... Yeah. That's dumb.
I remember at one point,
if you're an employer and you worry about stuff like that, you're stupid. All right, sorry, continue.
Well, it was very much put as we're trying to attract the older generation. They prefer something more formal. But why are you not trying to attract the newer generation? Why are you not trying to attract workers who would actually want to work here?
Yeah.
You couldn't have visible tattoos, or you could have one visible tattoo,
so,
I think.
Let me get this straight. Their idea was they wanted old people who have been with banks for 60 years.
Who are dying out.
Not
to be crude, but dying out, literally.
Who are dying and have been with banks for 60, 70 years, and they will give their left foot before changing to another bank. That's who they wanted you to aim for instead of the kids coming out of high school trying to start, new lives and accounts and all that stuff. And
correct.
All right. Okay. Just checking.
Correct. Yes.
Right.
It was just very, very slow to change.
Who's in charge of this place?
I remember there was HR people, and she was kind sometimes, but other times she was very, very focused on nitpicking.
Yeah, that's annoying.
There was another teller who was a friend of mine who got told off and made cry because they thought that her freckle on her face was a piercing.
That's crazy. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's so messed up.
And threatened of firing because of her piercing that was a freckle that she couldn't control.
That seems like borderline,
it's excessive,
racist in a way. If it's who I'm thinking about.
A lot. It is. Okay. It is.
That's racist against Irish people. I'm just saying.
And things like that. It was just too much parenting by the job. I'm not necessarily saying I need to dress a certain way to have a job.
Yeah.
But there's a fine line of I can't dye my hair, I can't have my piercing, I can't wear certain... There's a level of you can't have your pants fit a certain way.
That's ridiculous.
But there's different body types.
Right.
That's how pants fit me, bro.
Right. That's a bit ridiculous. Seems like a bit of an overreach.
A lot of the stuff they wanted me to do also, not just I've harped on about this uniform thing now.
That's all right. No, go for it. We can rip.
But a lot of the stuff they wanted me to do also was very sales. and I wasn't in a sales position. So they wanted me visiting car dealerships and trying to push
I remember you.
our services on them.
Yeah.
And I always suggested having someone who understood from the loan department, understood those services to come with me.
Yeah.
So I could facilitate those meetings.
Because that wasn't your job.
Because that wasn't my job. I don't understand anything about loans at all. I work in marketing. I run your social media and event planning.
Yeah.
But I'm here to tell you that we have some darn loans, bro.
Yeah, I mean, that's... I don't know anything past that. All I know is that we have it.
Which was very frustrating, and I feel like I didn't receive the support, and they were also still sending me out in COVID. You know who doesn't want me to visit in person during a pandemic?
I would bet car dealerships.
They were so mean to me.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about them being mean to you and stuff.
I still have legitimate anxiety every time I drive past a car dealership that I remember.
Yeah.
But I will never buy from a dealership. I'm too scared now to go back.
It's like they didn't want you there to begin with.
Correct.
Without COVID. And then COVID came on, and then it's like they just doubly didn't want you there.
Correct.
Yeah, and then they still forced you to go.
Every time that I had someone from the loan department come with me to assist me and actually discuss with them the business side of it, it was so great.
Yeah.
It was so, and I would have ideas like that, but then they would just tell me that was not feasible. Or I would have other ideas on marketing, really creative stuff, and they would just shut it down, and they want to do it the way things are always done. And I had another coworker. She told me the story. It's very short, I promise.
Okay.
It was about how there was this family who always cut the ends off their turkey every time they bake it for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
As a recipe.
Like the head and the butt, head and tail.
And one day the daughter asked the mom, "Why do we cut the ends off our turkey?" And the mom said, "Oh, I don't know. That's the way we've always done it." So they went to the grandma and they asked, "Why do we cut the ends off our turkey every Thanksgiving?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know. That's the way we've always done it." So they went to the great grandma. The great grandma says, "When I was a little girl, the turkey wouldn't fit in our oven, so we cut off the ends."
And that was the reason.
And that was the reason. And they're wasting good meat because that's the way you've always done it. Sometimes the way you've always done it is not the answer.
Is not the best way.
A reason for change. There's a reason to ask for new ideas. There's a reason to ask questions.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's cool. That's a good point.
And this credit union doesn't have that. They're slow to change. They only want to attract a generation in one way, one format, their way. They're not open to new ideas or looks or styles of people. And I just don't feel like it was a great place to work.
Okay.
They're a great place to have your money.
I was going to say,
They're a great place to refinance your loan.
I'm thinking I might refinance my loan somewhere else.
You definitely could. You probably, and then you could refinance it back again and still drop your rate. Just keep shopping around. I recommend that to date.
Yeah.
One of the great things I learned there was how to drop your rate.
I definitely need to do that.
By shopping around.
I should do that.
But
do that
I'm
tomorrow.
very, very, very grateful for that job and all that it taught me about what I do and didn't want to do.
And you worked there for a long time, too.
I worked there for about 3 years.
Yeah, that's like, when I think of your job, that's still the job I think of.
My goal was to get to 5.
When I think of you.
But it just didn't work out. COVID hit, and I started working from home.
Yeah.
I've never loved something so much in my life.
Working from home?
It was amazing.
So when you were at the credit union, you were still...
we got sent home, in March. Everyone said it was going to be 2 weeks, ended up being a year.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. When I was there, my office was in the call center. Mm-hmm. So all day I'm just hearing blee, 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 blee,
yeah.
Charlie Brown waka waka,
yeah,
but like 15 different people doing it at the same time. And you're trying to concentrate. It's nonsensical. When I was at home, it's quiet.
Nice.
My lunch is 6 steps away in the fridge.
Very nice.
My commute is not 45 minutes.
Very, very nice.
I'm wearing my orange hair tie.
Yeah.
My
not
comfortable
pink.
Clothes.
That's a big plus.
I'm not focused on my uncomfortable clothes and 3,000 people talking around me. Yeah. I am hyper focused on my job. I'm getting things done.
That's nice. This is how I'm dressed when I work from home. Also, for the record.
Me as well.
Shorts and sweatshirt.
I'm probably not shorts. I'm a chilly girly.
Oh,
I
okay,
like my long sweatpants. And
I love my gym shorts. I'm a big fan of gym shorts.
Yeah, but you're comfortable. You're not focused on your body. You're focused on your work.
Definitely, yeah.
Truly incredible. And I was also losing a lot of time. I felt like with the commute, like 45 minutes to an hour in rush hour.
That's bullshit. I mean, work takes up 8 hours of your day.
Yes.
And then you have
2 extra hours.
Yep. And then you spend an hour there, an hour back. You spend an hour getting ready, an hour de-stressing.
An 8-hour girl.
I'm not a girl, but I do need that.
And cook.
Or take care of a child, or
I can't even imagine. And I think about that sometimes because I was very, very sick when I was pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I was in my job now. I'm working from home. I don't know how I would have gone in somewhere and been that ill.
And the thing that blows my mind is girls do it every day.
Yes.
That blows my mind.
And they just keep going.
I would never be able to.
I would never.
I remember you. I remember how sick you were.
Unbelievably, violently ill.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be able to go into anywhere if I felt like that. I wouldn't be if I were. To be honest, not, when y'all have periods and stuff, it seems like you're
yeah,
dying.
it feels bad. Can't recommend.
And it happens like 2 weeks out of the 4 of the month, or how long? I don't know how girls work. How long does it last? It lasts like a week,
out
right?
of the month.
It lasts like a week, right?
Yes.
Right, yeah, that sucks.
I read a thing.
75% of the time, you guys feel.
It's a lot of like random pain and bleeding,
Yeah.
and she pretends in her mind that she's a Viking warlord that's been stabbed, but she can't let the crew know morale is low.
That's crazy, and it's like every girl does that every day.
Every month.
Yeah, every month,
like a
rather.
clockwork.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of myself during pregnancy. I was still trying to get I try to walk 2+ miles every day.
Oh, wow.
I was still trying to do that in pregnancy, and I would just throw up on the side of the road every 16 feet.
Keep on trucking.
But I'm still going.
Oh, jeez. That is rough.
I'm unwell, but I am still here.
Yeah, I don't know how y'all do it. I would be such a terrible woman.
It becomes your new normal.
I'd quit. I'd stop. If I were born a woman, I'd probably become a man. You can do that nowadays. I'm allowed. Well, not you, but me.
I'd rather not.
Yeah. But anyway, what were we talking? We were talking about
We have moved very far away from whatever I was talking about. I don't know.
credit union. Back to the credit union.
Yes. Okay. But yes, grateful to that job.
Work from home.
Learned a lot.
I got
Knees
sunburned.
got stuck up.
I got sunburned today.
Oh no! Oh, from fishing.
Yeah.
The fish sunburned you. That's sad. Yes. Okay. So anyway,
So we were...
that led me to realize I loved working from home.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely loved it. Everything about it was just so peaceful and like good for my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So when we went back into work, it was just the same old. It was back to the uniform conception, the kind of
that
bad
bothers
bureaucracy,
me.
back to the sales stuff with my mask on.
Yeah.
Visiting car dealerships again.
That bugs me so much.
That wasn't like the only thing I did, but it was also felt very customer servicey, and I just don't want to do that forever.
I wouldn't imagine marketing. I would imagine you wouldn't talk to people ever, right?
Precisely. Yes.
You're not supposed
that's
to.
what I would imagine. I was very much like social media event planning and content writing are my strengths.
Yeah.
My boss definitely tried to steer it towards my strengths, but because it was also a community relations,
Oh.
a lot of that was being in the community, which is fine. That's what you did. But
sure.
there's a fine line for me between community relations, scheduling your events, working your events, tabling, and sales,
Yeah.
going to car dealerships. I feel like
And customer
that
service.
line was blurred. Yes, and customer service type things, like
Customers.
answering the phone
Right.
for sign-ups, things like that. So it was a fine line. I can see how, that's what they would expect. It could go both ways, but it wasn't for me for long term.
Sure, that makes sense.
And like very grateful, but ready to move forward. So my sorority
Okay.
she's worked for several analyst companies that just does that.
Just does that. All right.
It's old house and creaks and makes noise.
Okay. I respect it.
The dishwasher sounds terrifying to me.
Nice.
If that ever goes off.
Okay.
Anyway, I believe she worked for several analyst companies. She's worked from home for a long time. And I was, discussing with her some of my job. We would meet up on occasion. We get sushi. That was our thing.
Nice.
And she was telling me about her job. And I was like, that sounds like exactly what I want to be doing. Content writing, working from home, cozy, never dealing with a customer.
That sounds cool. It kind of sounds like what I want to do.
So I asked her kind of how she got into it.
Yeah.
And she said typically her company hires part-time first, part-time to full-time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, I want to start a family in a couple years. I don't want to start over working part-time.
Yeah.
Not being able to save, not having insurance. I don't know what to do. So that was very analysis process. Do I stay with this full-time job or have this part-time job that she's offering me to go for?
Right.
And I'm thinking, if I get this job, a lot of people are going for this part-time job. Like they're a very high demand part-time job.
Highly competitive.
Highly competitive. And I'm going against people that already probably work at this company that want this job.
Oh, yeah, okay. Internal hires.
So I'm going against a lot of people. So if I get this job, it would be a miracle, and B, a sign.
Yeah, a sign.
And I got the job.
All
I
right.
went through 3 interviews with them. So,
There's your sign.
But I loved my boss. I really respected her, and I did not want to leave her in a lurch.
Was this your
This is still at the credit union.
Oh, okay, I understand.
So I offered to stay on part-time at the credit union.
Okay.
Continuing to do their social media event planning, not the stuff that I was not as strong at, but the things I was strong at, just to help them in the meantime.
Yeah.
If they hired someone in the meantime, I offered to also help train them
and
still do all their editing work.
That was nice of you.
And then I would go on part-time with my new job. So I would work my new part-time job at Telelogical Systems, which is where I work at now.
Cool.
Love them to death. Favorite job I've ever had.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. You seem happy there.
I love it there so much. And then worked at the credit union still part-time. Within 2 weeks, I think it was 2 weeks to a month, they decided they liked my work so much they wanted me full-time.
All right.
I don't even recall having to re-interview. They just gave it to me.
Nice. That's exciting. So within 2 weeks.
They opened a position for me to
Nice.
go on full-time.
Cool.
But then I still gave my 2 weeks with the credit union because that wasn't fair. I only gave them a month of part-time work.
Yeah.
So I did an extra 2 weeks to close out with the credit union. Then I moved full-time into my position.
That was
doing
good
what
of you.
I do now. I love my job now. So I guess I could talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk
What
about your
do
job
I
now.
actually do. All this
So,
led to.
Now look, so we are an hour and 3 minutes in, and
Yoink.
now, but that's a good thing because we're just now getting to why I started this podcast as to what the heck do you do for a living?
What do I do?
Because I don't actually understand anything at all. I don't know what a senior marketing
Research analyst.
senior marketing research analyst does.
So many words. Too many words.
Senior market research analyst. Yep, that's what you
I
said.
even said my job title.
That is what you had said.
So I started on as a part-time market research analyst.
Cool.
Then I say promoter, I guess hired on as a full-time market research analyst. To Logical Systems. And they're based out of Charleston.
Cool. Okay.
So we work in the telecom industry.
Beautiful city.
It is gorgeous. And they let me come there twice a year, which is incredible.
That's exciting.
But with To Logical Systems, you can only work in, I believe, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, and Ohio, which is where they have their offices, which feels really random. Ohio. What?
Ohio. Yeah. For some reason, everyone has an office in Ohio.
It must be the capital of offices.
I think it's like low key, like kind of our nation's like hub for some reason. Unfortunately,
Ohio O is for office.
Yeah, well, that's another good. Yeah, it's another good way to remember it. It's probably some tax thing. I think a lot of corporations go there for
It
some
must
tax. It's like there, Texas, and what's the one? Texas, Connecticut. The one that's
Connecticut. Oh, I haven't heard
Connecticut
before.
has like weird tax, or maybe it's Rhode Island. One of the northeastern.
Small for.
Well, it's because tax
Yes.
thing. Yeah, so they'll have
But
like
for hub of the nation,
I
like
know,
Ohio.
right? A little weird. Yeah, I know it, but also Ohio. Anyway, back to.
Back to where we started.
Yeah, back to not Ohio.
So
back to
that
anything
me
else.
Felt very funny because it's a completely work from home company.
Mm-hmm.
So why couldn't I live in Kansas? Not that I want to.
Sure.
But like that felt weird. But sure. I
Yeah.
guess.
So one of the requirements was you lived in
had
one of
to
the
live in
states?
these locations.
Okay.
And my sorority little, obviously we did. So
Not bad.
so I've started working there, etc. So what I do as a market research analyst in the telecom industry is you look very cool with your sunglasses on.
Thank you. I feel cool.
Research telecoms competitors. So I find out what their marketing is, what their websites look like, what their pricing range is, where they offer service.
Telecoms services being like phone, internet, cable.
Yes.
Got it.
Phone,
Okay.
internet, TV.
Okay.
Not
Providers.
radio. Yes.
Not what?
Not radio.
Not radio. So phone, internet, cable providers.
Yes.
Okay.
So for an example, I would research all those things about Charter Spectrum for their competitors, and then we've built them a database. So every day we write sort of like magazine articles on what their competitors that they pay for us to research are up to. So they have different advertising. They're suddenly offering this Black Friday sale.
New sales.
Yes, they're offering different pricing in, we call them DMAs, but it's how the telecom industry divides up areas. So it's kind of similar to how when you vote, political areas are divided up into different counts.
Yeah.
It's like that, but DMAs. So like what is serviced in different areas. Districts.
Yeah. Okay. Like not to, well, I don't want to say anyone in particular. Comcast is in this area and Verizon is in this area.
Exactly. They're located in these DMAs.
Yeah.
Or for instance,
it can go like neighborhood to neighborhood.
In my personal home, I have Comcast, and they service my DMA, but they might not service my parents' DMA.
Okay.
Or Glow Fiber, my parents are able to get. They service my parents' DMA, but they don't service my DMA.
I hear you. Like how Fios is available in some areas but not in others. Okay.
And there's a really cool service. I forget what it stands for, but it's the FCC, Federal
Communications Commission.
Yes, that's what it is. Their free website, you can look up your address and they'll tell you what is available, what internet speeds are available at your location in your DMA.
Nice.
All of mine are like 100 Mbps a second, except for Comcast, which is 1,000.
Hey, that's a lot, right?
So clearly we have Comcast.
Yes, Comcast is the way to go. Okay,
at my
I see.
home.
Shout out Comcast. Sponsor us.
And yes, sponsor us. Your internet's fantastic. My home is 10 out of 10 with it.
Thanks, Comcast. Although I couldn't connect earlier, so
boo, hissy. I don't know
fix
what's up
that.
with that.
That's
That
probably
sounds
my
like
thing.
a laptop. But
I'm pretty sure it's my laptop. This thing stinks.
we do live in the middle of the nowhere, so having such good internet is quite a blessing, especially from work from home.
Yeah, true.
Because my internet goes out, forget about it.
Forget about it.
I'll go to a coffee shop to work, I guess.
Yeah.
Love working from home. Best thing ever. Like I said, no commute. Like
Pretty
my commute
great.
is up the stairs, bro. I get up at 7:30 and I start work at 7:30.
That's pretty good. I like that.
My lunch is in the fridge. I've chopped up my salad,
Nice.
I take a walk break on my private trails every day. I could
Pretty good.
never leave the land and I would be so happy.
That's pretty good.
I love it. So one of my specializations that I do is I do something called the OTT calculator.
Okay.
It's over the top is what it stands for. And it's
Over-the-top
all of the
calculator.
streaming services.
Uh-huh.
So every time a streaming service has a deal or a different change, it goes into this calculator.
The over-the-top calculator.
And the over-the-top calculator.
I'm the over-the-top. I'm over the top right now.
Are you a calculator
I
too?
have calculated that I'm over the top.
And in this database that I have put it in, you can click each one and it'll add up how much all of your streaming services cost together. And it'll tell you if you're missing any deals where you
Wait.
could bring your pricing down.
Okay, you can do this for an individual person?
So yeah, we can look it up after this if you want to see how much you're paying for your streaming services and what you should and could cut.
I think I maybe I would like to do that, yeah.
Yes.
Although I don't know if I pay for any
But that's my
streaming services.
specialization, my project. Me and one other girl run that calculator. So every week we research
Okay.
all the deals and keep that up to date.
Yeah.
And create
Enter it into the
that-
spreadsheet.
Yes.
Cool.
So we call them DEWs, data entry workbooks.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not quite spreadsheets per se; they're very specialized. So the
Okay.
way you have to enter data is is a certain way, which I guess I won't go to that. That would be really boring. But
Sorry, hang on.
we have certain fields.
Do you mind if I pause it real
No,
quick?
please go ahead.
Hang on, sorry. Yo, pardon the interruption. This episode of Work Friends is brought to you by Fat Skippy, Richmond's premier classic rock and country cover band. Whether you're into classic rock anthems or country favorites, Fat Skippy delivers an unforgettable live music experience. Plus, a huge shout out to them for providing the microphones and audio cables for the podcast. Am I in this band? Yes. Does this still count as a sponsor? Also, yes. Anyway, check them out on Facebook to see where they're playing next and support local music. It's Fat Skippy. Check this out on Facebook. Thank you. Back to the show.
Phone call.
And we're back. Sorry about that, folks. I had a phone call. Very important business call, right? Anyway, okay, so we were back, and we were talking about over-the-top calculators, and we were talking about how over-the-top I am all the time.
Over the top calculation. Buy your calculation.
Yes.
So I think I kind of finished talking about the over-the-top calculator. So I guess with my job, I was very, very proud because I worked up to have the most competitors in the company, which meant I did the most research on different competitors in the U.S.
Okay.
But recently there was a guy on a different team who was kind of my equal and opposite. I would say he probably had the biggest competitors in the company that he researched. He recently moved over to the technology side of our department. So there's two sides of our company. There's Telegical Systems, which does the research and telecom part of it. And then there's RPath, which does the technology side. And they do, I don't even know what they do. It's technology stuff. They build the database workbooks for us. They build our scripts. But they also do it for other companies as well. So they'll do automations.
Oh, nice.
For companies. Definitely something really cool to look into. Their LinkedIn is incredible.
What do you mean automations? Like billing, like sending out?
Yes, yeah. Any kind of automations in your like computer system and the way that your billing is set up or the way that your company processes payroll or
okay.
anything that the computer could do faster and better for you, they will build.
I see.
It's amazing. It's like magic.
That is pretty cool.
They also help us with ours on our side.
Can they set up a system that will automate my work emails and answer them for me automatically? And
They definitely could for a great deal of money.
I would like. Oh, never mind. Not the money thing.
Maybe just use ChatGPT. No, I'm just playing.
Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I'll cut this part.
We had a client request because we can see when clients do email in with questions, and somebody was like, it would be really nice if you had a way to calculate all of the streaming service.
Well, have we got a deal for you?
They pay for our tool. What do you mean?
Man. We have news for you. They already pay for it and they don't even know.
Super silly. Yeah. I'm sure that client services answered. It was like, boy, you should really utilize what you pay for.
Guess what you have?
I sent it to my coworkers like, does she mean, wouldn't it be nice if we had an OTK calculator?
Yeah. We do. That's funny.
Well, boy, do we have news for you. So anyway, I thought that was really funny.
That is.
But so he moved to the technology side of the company, and he requested that I replace him.
Okay.
Because we both were used to juggling the same amount of work in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got a referral, pretty much.
I did, which is very, very cool. So I recently had a baby, as we discussed like 4 times, and my husband discussed a different episode. So when I got back from having that baby, I steamrolled a ton of training in order to get a promotion to senior.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So every day I would do my work, and then I would barrel through training to get to what I did. And you're supposed to have a specialization to get this promotion. I've been doing my specialization since I was a part-timer.
What do you mean?
So OTT Calculator is my specialization.
Wow.
And that is my like special project. Like just me and another girl handle all of the streaming services, and all of that research. So I already had a specialization. I just needed to do the tie off the loose ends and the training and things that I already did. Okay. To get this promotion. So I finally did that and I got promoted. And I think that's what also led him to think that, I would be good for his job, because I had recently done all the training. I juggled the same amount of work. I had the project.
It was pretty fresh.
So I was nervous, and there was also a little bit of team change around. I was on one team, absolutely love my team, another really, really, really amazing manager, just truly wonderful. But they decided to split and make a new team to give more management opportunities, as well as just create, I think, a more intimate setting. So fewer people, more teams.
Okay. Smaller teams.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I was moved to the smaller team, which was bittersweet because, once again, an amazing boss. That is just the theme of my life, which really makes my jobs tolerable.
That is true. A great boss can make or break a job.
And I think that's been a theme across your podcast.
I've had wonderful, I know I've said this multiple times, but I've had wonderful, amazing bosses that made them the best jobs ever, and I've had
terrible,
just absolute dog shit, terrible managers that made that job hell. It made me like that. I think badly about that company now because of that. Yeah,
I've only ever encountered what I would consider not good upper management, but in like my direct bosses have always been wonderful to me.
They have.
I've been very, very blessed with that. I've never had a bad direct boss experience.
That's good. Nothing
but good things to say about all of the managers of this company. They're warm, wonderful, welcoming. They always answer my questions. They write the kindest reviews for me.
That's really
good. They
have
my back. I love them. Like I could go on forever. And it was like fun to build a new team, to build the culture, to continue my work. But now with this change, I'm being transferred back to my original team, which is great.
So you're going back to your original team under the original manager?
Team. So it's like I colonized a moon and now I'm coming home.
Now I'm going back.
It was kind of a difficult transfer over because I had to train my replacements. They hired someone on.
Yeah.
I had to be trained for this new, I say new position. It was the same position but different competitors. And I had to keep up with my own work.
Wow.
So it was like 3 part-time jobs or 3 full-time jobs at
all
once.
in one. Jeez, that sounds tough.
But it led me to realize that I absolutely love training. Like I genuinely enjoy doing it. I understand what I do with the company.
Yeah.
I feel like I do a pretty good job of creating a lesson plan, of facilitating what people need to create things that learn really well in their mind or the way that they learn. So I want to write a proposal for my company to see if I can do some part-time work as a training manager.
That would be very cool. Yeah.
Because they have different ways that they open up part-time jobs in your full-time job, or you can kind of have 2 at once. I've seen the person I did was doing that with the technology side. And that's how he got hired in the technology side,
Oh,
which
okay.
is cool for him. Another individual does it. He's a manager and he works in sales.
Okay, so it allows you to kind of get your feet wet in one thing
And
that
doing
you
something else.
might be interested in, while also
gaining a little extra money, getting a little extra experience.
And if it doesn't work out, you can always kind
And
of
then
go back
and then
to
you
that,
still
I
have
guess.
your full-time job on top of it.
Nice. That's kind of a good business model. I like that. Yeah.
Another thing that I love about my job is I love the culture. They genuinely care about you as a person.
Very important.
So we use Slack, and they have fun channels as well as work channels.
Cool.
So, for instance, I'm in the book channel.
Nice.
And they're going to do a little book club.
That's cool.
There's a D&D channel. So they literally have a office D&D group that meets on Tuesdays.
And you don't play with them?
No, I was having a baby at the time.
Yeah, true. You got a
But
baby.
next time they do, I think, lengthy kind of one-shots. It's like several months in a row. So like maybe when they open their new one, I'll join.
Nice. That's so exciting. That's cool.
So cool. They have... they have channels for everything. They have a cooking channel, and in a few months, they're going to offer a at-home cooking class.
Cool.
For that channel.
That is nice.
They have a gaming channel.
I was
we just
gonna
did a gaming trivia
Okay. Are you in that one?
time. I am in that one.
Nice.
I did the gaming trivia. It was a lot of fun.
Are you in the D&D one too, even though you don't like
Yes,
play?
I am. I see what's going on.
Because you
Like,
play D&D, just not with them. Yeah.
They literally have a tattoo channel for people to rave about their tattoos
Nice.
when they got new tattoos.
This company sounds sick.
And they genuinely care. Like it's so much fun. People like are supportive. They want to see your stuff.
Is it a big company? I mean, I know you said it was
I want to say there's like 90, 95.
very large.
Pretty small, but we're pretty much the only people that do what we do. We're a very specialized service.
Okay.
And I'm very, very, very grateful and blessed. My mom has kept my son at my house.
Yeah.
So I can still see him whenever I want.
That's awesome.
As from someone who works from home. But I cannot work and keep my baby at the same time. I
No.
simply cannot do it. He is a full-time job commitment.
A lot of people don't understand about work from home. We're working from
I'm
home.
working
I had
from home.
I had many fights with my ex about I'm working when I'm working from home.
Yes.
I can't clean the house. I can't take care of the dogs. I can't yes, I can take 15 minutes out of my day to walk the dogs
Please
or whatever.
don't come over.
But I can't. Yeah, I
cannot
can't
hang out.
Yes, not only that, but like I can take 15 minutes out of my day to walk the dogs or take the trash out.
I have
or,
my lunch break,
or
same
clean
as
up,
you.
Yes, or clean up real quick. But I can't be doing. I can't take a 15-minute break every hour to clean up or like do something around the house.
Correct.
It's not. You know what I mean?
I have
like
to focus, or I have to be on the phone, or
I
I
had-
have to be in a meeting.
Yes, I had many arguments about like when my ex would get home from work and be like, "Oh, the dishes aren't done." Well, yeah, I'm fucking working. Of course they're not done. I've got stuff to
and
do.
That's something I expressed
Yeah.
to my husbands that I would not roll up at your work and drop off the child for you to watch him
Yes.
at your place of work.
Excellent.
This is my place of work.
Good point.
You
Good
cannot
point.
expect me to do the same.
Good point. Yep.
So this week, my mom was off. She had a trip planned. So CJ took off Thursday
Mm-hmm.
to stay with the baby, and I took off Friday to stay with the baby. It was equal.
Yeah.
We both have
works out.
equal amount of work. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys do a good.
Very good partnership.
You guys are a good
yes.
balance. Good balance.
So yes, you cannot do childcare and work at the same time. I would not expect you to do it at your place of business. You cannot expect me to do it at my place.
Definitely,
of business.
I think that's fair.
I don't expect you to drive home and wash the dishes
Yeah.
in the
Thank
middle
you.
of your workday.
You
I'm
get
not
it.
going to commute down the stairs.
That's a good. I wish I had said that. I wish that would have been. I think I might have won that argument if
But it's
I had
equal.
said
But
that.
I will say sometimes, like if I'm on my lunch break, I will throw in a load of laundry to be
Definitely,
nice,
definitely.
or I'll dust, or I'll pick up a little
Yeah,
bit.
for
I
sure.
don't want to trip on my son's Legos,
Yes, absolutely. No.
But that's not my MO. I still get a lunch break.
Yeah.
I deserve a break
I
as
need a
equal
break.
as anybody else. I would
Absolutely.
like to eat my salad in peace.
Yes. Am I at home? Am I, wearing comfy clothes? Yes. But
Yes.
I want to give my brain a break. Just let me veg out for
I
30
deserve
minutes.
a lunch break.
Yeah, let me veg out for 30 minutes here.
Yes, exactly. I get it. I deserve it. Yes.
Yeah, I don't
So,
think that's unreasonable.
I have to. And sometimes I find myself hyper focusing and I'll work through lunch and I'm like,
Yeah.
I got it again.
I do
and
that
it's
too.
easier to do that. It's like to work more hours or not
Yep.
because you have the opportunity to. Why not log on after dinner or
Yeah,
something?
I do that too. Like especially when I drive around and see customers and stuff, I'll kind of get in the zone. I'll get on a roll. Like I'll be like, all right, let me stop here, then I'll go
Yes,
here,
and-
and then I'll
yeah.
go here. Yeah, and then next thing I know, it's 2:30 and I've skipped lunch, and I'm like, oh well, might as well just go home, answer some emails, and wait till 5, eat dinner.
But I actually am better about that now since having a son because my childcare leaves at 4:30. So 4:30 is my hard stop.
Oh yeah.
7:30 to 4:30, you get me during that period of time. I take my 30-minute lunch.
You said your mom watches them most days.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
She comes at 7:30. I log into work.
Right, she retired a couple years ago.
Yes, she
Okay.
did. So she had a little bit of time to, hang around, do
Yeah.
whatever she wanted, and now she
Nice.
keeps him.
And your dad's retired too, right?
He is. So
okay.
he'll help out. My son goes to her house a couple days a week,
Cool.
and he stays here a couple days a week, and then My husband gets off every other Friday,
Nice.
so he has daddy
That's right.
days
Yeah,
every
yeah.
other Friday.
I
So-
bet he's probably having the best time, like, as a kid.
Oh yeah, he's also very confused about his schedule. I think.
Well, whatever. He's a
Sometimes
busy
I'm
guy.
at Nan's, sometimes I'm at Mommy's, sometimes
Yeah.
Daddy's here.
Yeah, so who knows? I love hanging out at Nana's and stuff all the time.
Oh my
At
gosh,
Nana's.
yes, he does, and it's nice for him to get out and see new places and
Yeah.
things. He's a little bit stranger dangery now, so he's very, very attached to
Yeah.
the people that he already knows.
For sure.
And anyone outside of that, forget about it.
Yeah, he still did good, like, with me. I don't know if he remembers me. Probably not, but
He might. He likes your hat.
he did like my hat. He did pretty well with me, and the waiter
But you're not
too.
trying
is-
to pick him up or anything.
That's
when
true,
he gets
yeah.
a little. I'm being kidnapped. Please save
Hey,
me.
I could if someone came and tried to pick me up, and I like had never met him, I'd be like, whoa, who the heck?
I
Get
was
off me!
mentioning that to CJ. I was like, it must be like being like you don't speak the language, and you're
Yeah.
like, help, I'm frightened, and they're like, spoon.
Yeah. Who is? Oh, there's my dad over there.
Oh, look, trees, car seat.
Yeah. Oh, there's my dad way over there. Oh, I'm being picked up by this strange man. Who are you?
Absolutely not. Like,
Yeah.
I could see why that would be frightening.
I'm being picked up now. Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be alarming.
Everything's
For sure.
out of context.
Yeah, pretty much everything. I have no context for anything ever.
I had a friend.
This is my
who
first time here.
who moved recently, and her son casually looked around, maybe the third day of living there, and said, "Is this still Earth?" That's a great question, buddy.
No, it is-
It's a solid question. Like you no context,
is
right?
this still
Suddenly, I live here now.
That might be the title of this episode. Is this
Is
still
this
Earth?
still Earth?
That's a good. Yeah, I like that.
That's a good one.
Is this still Is this still Earth?
They're gonna think I'm an astronaut.
Yeah.
It's, like, it's not me. It's Keith.
Maybe that'll be Keith's episode. Nah, that'll be yours.
I love it.
But all right, well that's pretty cool.
Oh,
so,
I was talking more about my company.
Yes.
Caring.
I wasn't. Yeah,
They, they also offer bonding events twice a year.
Bonding
where
events?
They pay for you and your partner, if you want, to come down to Charleston.
Oh, okay.
They pay for no,
Bonding events.
Oh.
That made me raise my eyebrows. I was like,
not like that, not like that.
all right, they pay for you and your partner to continue.
Choke on that.
Sorry.
To Charleston,
Uh-huh.
and they get a hotel. And they book events. So I think the last time the Charleston Battery, their soccer team down there, they got a big skybox and they catered in a ton of food and free drinks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you get to watch the game, you get to hang out. I think the players came and they got to like sign stuff, and people's kids came and got to like run around with the players on the
That's tight.
field. So cool. The time that we went was the Christmas party, and they rented out a very, very fancy, fine whiskey bar.
Hey, we actually drove by it when we were in South
in
Carolina.
Charleston.
Yeah. He pointed it out.
He mentioned that earlier,
Uh-huh.
so you've seen it. Yeah, that whiskey bar. They also had shuffleboard in it.
Cool.
They cater a ton of delicious food. You can get whatever drinks you want.
That's exciting.
They literally pay for you to have the delightful vacation weekend and
Yeah.
like see your coworkers.
So
and
it's just
enjoy.
like a mingling, like
Event.
no work being done there.
So since we're work from home, you
Oh, okay.
typically go down on a Thursday night, work all day Friday, and then of course my partner doesn't work from home, so like he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He actually has golf lined up with one of
Nice.
my
Yeah, he
coworkers'
was-
husbands next time.
I think he was telling me that. Yeah.
But he and my little, who works with me now because she recruited me
Nice.
here, her boyfriend and him will go to the outlets a lot.
Very cool.
Or some of the local breweries or whatever they want to do during the day. And my little and I will go out to lunch usually
Yeah. That's
and
pretty cool.
hang out.
And
But
so it's like Thursday, Friday, you work, and then
Thursday night they have a coworker happy hour. Friday night they have the event, and then Saturday nights sometimes they'll have a different event.
Yeah,
then you
Sunday.
go on Sunday. I
Hanging
think it's
out.
the Thursday happy hour because CJ and I work all day and then we commute down
Yeah.
there, so we get there at like midnight.
it's like a 6-hour
Done.
drive. Yeah, it's like a 6-hour drive. So.
I have to pee a lot as a new mom, so
Yeah.
8-ish.
Oh, okay. I also have to pee a lot as just who I am as a person. So.
I can't help it.
When we drove down there, yeah, we stopped. I made him stop a lot. On the way back home, I made him stop because I had to poop. So.
Sounds like something he would need to do. So
Yep, it was me. I made him stop a lot. I made him stop
he
like
probably appreciated it.
he might have.
He loves he loves a little snick snack or a little drinky drink.
Yeah,
He
I'm the
doesn't
same
mind
way.
Stopping.
That actually when we were road tripping, I was like, something about me, dude. I always have to have a drink if I'm in a car. I don't care.
I want a little fun diet drink.
Huh?
I want a little fun diet
Yeah,
drink when I'm in the car.
I have to have a drink if I'm in the car. No matter. It doesn't matter if I'm going 10 minutes down the road or if I'm going 30 minutes. 3 hours. I gotta have a drink.
I feel like I have different ones for like different ones. Like when I'm in South Carolina, I want Lodi coffee as my drink.
Lodi coffee.
It is
I don't even know what
truly
that
the
is.
best coffee place ever. They have every flavor. It's kind of like Seven Brew,
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
but
Okay.
like even more specialized flavor. It's
Is
delicious.
Is Seven Brew around Richmond?
They just built one in Midlothian.
Oh, okay. There were a bunch of them in Louisville when I was out there. They were popping up all over the place.
They also so their other thing is they have every flavor you can imagine energy drink.
Ooh, at 7 Brew?
Yeah.
Wow.
And sugar-free.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You can get anything and any dairy alternative or sugar-free alternative.
They have Monsters?
Yes.
They have White Monster?
I don't know.
Oh.
I've actually never had an energy drink, but I know that everyone's crazy about it.
All right.
I'm a coffee girlie.
Coffee girl. All right.
But or I'm on an airplane, I'm going to have a vitamin water.
Yeah, you
I
have vitamin
associate
water.
different drinks with different.
On airplanes, I get a lot of ginger ale. So I feel like I never
ginger ale.
I feel like I never
on
drink
airplanes.
ginger ale anywhere else except for an airplane. I'll get a
I
ginger
feel
ale
nauseous
and
just thinking about it.
yeah, get a ginger ale and like a Biscoff cookie or whatever they are.
Oh yes, the Biscoff, so good.
Make your mouth super dry, but they're very delicious.
They're so good. Have you had Biscoff cookie butter?
Yeah, CJ introduced me to it.
Oh, I think it's over there. I think we do have a jar. It's so good. But yes, Charleston.
Yeah.
So I love that, and they care. They want you to come and bond. I
Yeah.
love to see my coworkers. I'm like good buddies with all of them.
Good culture.
Yes, it's a good culture. Pretty good friends outside of it too. There's no real serious drama. Sometimes there's an altercation or you don't love the way someone talks, quote unquote, or types. I guess.
Yeah, types.
But I mean, overall, I don't have a problem with anybody. I love the way they run everything.
Yeah.
They're so good at change every year, and sometimes it's uncomfortable to change if you're used to doing your job. But every year they make major changes so that we can continue to do our jobs and do them well.
They're changes for the better.
Yes.
Nice. A lot of
they
times.
offer research classes if you want to further yourself in your career.
That's good.
I'm going to take one on Canva, I think, later this year.
Nice.
They offer personal development courses. Like last year, they offered a budgeting class from a professional that came in. I just took a desker size class.
Nice.
With them.
That's pretty cool.
They care about you as a person, not only as a cog in the wheel.
That's very important.
Everything about my company is just wonderful.
Yeah. It sounds like it.
I am very passionate about what I do. It sounds a little boring. I build a database thing.
No, it's not.
I was talking to one of my coworkers, and his
Doing research and stuff.
wife is a tattoo artist and a therapist.
And
And every time people ask him their career, she says that. And they're like, that's so cool. And they ask him what he does. And he says,
Yeah.
I work in the telecom industry. And he says he sees the light behind their eyes just die.
He watches people die inside.
Oh,
That's
they
very-
don't ask any follow-up questions, And that's how I feel like it could be really boring. But I am
No.
very, very passionate about my company.
Yeah.
I want to do right by them. I think they're amazing.
That's important.
And I genuinely enjoy what I do. And I am very, very grateful and blessed to work from home.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
that's my whole story.
Nice.
I
That's
guess the
really
only
good.
things I would add job wise, I do a little bit here and there of side pocket work of I do hair. I can do any kind of braiding or curling or updo any style.
Whoa.
So I would do that on the side for wedding events, ballroom events, formals and stuff in college, and they would just kind of pay me under the table grocery money.
Nice.
Because I don't have a
Just cash.
license or anything.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
I'll do your hair in whatever Pinterest picture. Show me whatever picture you have, and I'll do it for you. And I keep a little picture portfolio. I've done.
That's pretty awesome.
I mean, since then I've only done a few weddings. I think, and I would do the same for editing work. So I would edit people's college papers, APA, MLA formats.
Oh, like writing editing.
Yes.
Okay.
Or social media. I would do their caption editing, their blog editing.
How am I doing on my social media stuff so far? All
You
right.
know, I try not to look too hard at it. My nickname for my other job was Eagle Eye because I will suss out any grammatical issue.
I'm doing everything all on my own. So any advice you want to offer?
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah.
For free.
I'm
free.
a very strong writer.
That's good.
So I like doing that kind of stuff, and I kind of understand how
Cool.
the marketing world works when it comes to that as well.
That's good to know. I'm a bit of a grammar. I don't know. Can I say that? I can't say that anymore.
A grammar redacted.
Grammar redacted. I like grammar.
You're an Eagle Eye as well.
Grammar is important. Grammar important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Grammar important. Yeah. But yeah, no, I like grammar too. So, but anyway.
So I'm a hustler. What can I say?
You a hustler. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So I didn't know that you did the makeup and hair thing on the side.
Not makeup, just
Sorry, not makeup, just hair.
I do my own makeup and I enjoy it, but
There you
I
go.
would not trust myself around somebody's eyeballs.
Okay. So you do weddings and stuff? Have you done
Yes,
any of
I
our
recently
friends?
did one. I think I did 3 bridesmaids and a bride. I just did $100
Wow.
as a favor.
That was recent?
Yeah, it was pretty recent. It was I think last July.
Nice. I had no idea. I didn't know you did that.
just kind of on the side, just kind of word of mouth, friend
Yeah.
of a friend type.
Well, hey,
thing.
what if this podcast takes off and Everyone wants you to do your hair, and
I can do some things.
I will-
Don't trust me with scissors, but like,
Yeah, I'm not
basically,
cutting.
if you show me a picture of it, I can do it.
okay, I got you. Like styling,
Yes,
like hair
any kind of
styling.
styling, yeah, for
Okay,
an event. When I was in college, it was a lot more frequent because there was always a formal
Right.
or
Sorority
a semi-formal
stuff
or something going on. So whole sororities would hire me for the whole day, basically,
Dang.
to just stay in their sorority house and
Yeah.
just do hair from whoever come up. People would sign up for times, and I
Wow.
would just do their hair for it.
That is
For groceries.
How nerve-wracking. I would never be able to talk to a bunch of sorority girls
Oh,
all
really?
day long. Go into a sorority girl's house and, well, I'm 30 now, but back in the day, go into a sorority girl's house and just like sit there and let them talk to you for all day.
I'm not scared of ladies. I'm
Never
like,
be
tell
able
me
to
your
do
life
it.
story, baby. I'm just braiding this. But
I'd never
I'm
be able to
actually
do that.
very speedy, though. I can do probably any style in about 30 minutes.
That's pretty good. That's fast because doing your hair takes forever as a
So
girl.
it does by yourself for sure.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Sometimes I'll lose money if I'm using too many bobby pins. So
Really? You'll lose money?
It's a fine line, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I definitely didn't want to go into hair forever because it's just very hard on the body.
Yeah. It was just something to do on the side.
But
Just
yeah,
make
it's
some
a nice
extra money.
side hustle. And like, every once in a while, I'll dust it off my hat.
There you go.
I have a beauty bag
Yeah.
that I have. I'll pull it off the shelf and
Dust off the
head
old
off
beauty
to the
bag.
wedding.
Nice.
Ye old beauty bag.
The old beauty bag. Cool. Well, I really appreciate you letting me come and talk to you, and I'd say talk your ear off, but I kind of let you do most of the talking, and I ask the questions,
Well, I
and then I
hope
shut up.
someone out there finds
Yeah.
this interesting.
Definitely.
I'm really grateful and appreciative to all my jobs and all the people who have helped me along the way, especially all my wonderful bosses.
That's really nice. Do you want to say their name if you?
Yeah,
I
I
know
guess shout out Hillary, Charity, Tom.
Yeah, there
I don't
you go.
think anybody from Old Jamboree is listening, but love you guys too.
There you go. Hey, you never know. But all right, cool. Well, Amber, I really appreciate you letting me talk to you again. This has been yet another episode of Work Friends Podcast. We are still doing it somehow. This was episode 9, I believe it will be, when it comes out. So thank you all for listening, and yeah, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Give us 5 stars on Spotify, and yeah, okay, all right, I'm done begging. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.